Hello. Do. Hello. Here, just getting loaded up here. So you came at the perfect time. All right. Today we are going to yap about really bridging the conversation we had last time over into this. So we talked about hair loss clients and what they need to kind of see on our posts and on our feed. But chances are a lot of anyone listening to this heard that call, maybe watched it, whatever, and haven't really done anything with it yet. Haven't posted, haven't like made actionable kind of plans. And usually, what that boils down to, time and time again, and talking to all kinds of stylists, and myself included, and my stylist in my own salon, um, is fear. Like, we just get this like fear behind posting any of our shit online. So, that's really what we're going to dive into talking about today. I'm going to give you guys some action items on what you actually can post. That's probably something you already have in your drafts, in your camera roll, something there that just gives a little bit of a frame to put that in and just to kind of get you out of your bubble. Through this next couple weeks until we have our next call, I want to challenge anybody listening to this and anybody here today, like just do the thing and do it scared and see where it gets you. The more you do something, the less scary it will be. And I have a firm belief that fear is literally just rooted in because we don't know what the outcome will be. So if we can better predict an outcome, that fear falls off. The more you do something, the more you can better predict an outcome. And suddenly things aren't as scary anymore. So let's dive into it a little bit. Um, I've got all in my notes here. Okay, so basically, let's kind of call it out just a little bit because I'm also this person. Chances are you know what you need to post, you know what you should post, you're just not doing it. My girls are this exact same way. I talk to lots of stylists. They're that exact same way. They have it in their drafts, or they have this idea, or they take the content on their phone and then it goes nowhere else past that. So in those kind of situations, like I again talk to stylists all the time that are like, oh, I really just want more clients, but like I just don't know what to post or da da da. Okay, well, we have lots of options there. We have our 60 and 90-day content planning calendar that's inside of the course. So those are all trust first marketing kind of strategies within that. But you actually have to get it out and into the algorithm. You have to actually put it into the woogie woogie, or it's not going to do anything, right? And then on top of that, we also have this thing that's working against us because the algorithm, if you're not posting regularly, it forgets who you are. I kind of try to explain it in a way that's like it's like your little grandma with dementia. If you're not there all the time, she's gonna not really remember you, right? 51st dates, that you go away and then suddenly it's just like, "Burp, who's this? I don't know, because you didn't post enough, right?" So getting back into that is where you yourself have to just normalize putting something out there. Understand that a lot of people might not even see it. And that's really okay because this isn't about like perfection. And honestly, we've had this conversation plenty of times too, but like perfection doesn't sell anymore. Perfection isn't something that people actually want to see in this world with AI. So I feel like that's where a lot of our inner things start to come out. But the more you can just like normalize you as a person, on top of normalizing hair loss, normalizing the things you're talking about, normalizing client conversations, normalizing before and afters, like whatever you post is going to be your normal. And honestly, you're kind of in the perfect place because if you're not posting a lot, nobody really knows where you're at anyway. So you're, excuse me, really working off a clean slate. You can take that whatever direction you want. So it's a lot easier to build from a foundation of nothing than it is to tear a house down and rebuild it. So, like, if you haven't posted in a while, you're doing great. Like, that's the perfect place to start. And then if you are somebody who posts pretty regularly, but found yourself kind of slipping out of it or are struggling to get into a new kind of like flow with posting about hair loss clients, that's just one of those things you just start working in. You just start throwing them into your marketing, and like nobody's going to recognize that as weird. I've said this a million times, I'm sure too, but like the only person that sees 100% of your content is you. That's all. So like look around at the people that are liking every one of your posts and like engaging with every single one of your posts and actually seeing it. It's probably very few numbers. And those people that are your diehards, are the ones that you could post about some stupid ass shit and they'd still be like, love it, girl. Like they don't care. I have over 10,000 followers and there's about 50 to 60 that are diehards and see everything. That's a wild number split, right? So just understand that like those people that are all gung ho for you are going to love that you're posting something different, are going to really admire the fact that you're broadening your horizons or sharing whatever you're sharing. So as long as you're posting things that are super aligned to you and your most loyal clients, that's really all you have to look at. The goal is posting things to attract more of that. So if you're in your authentic self, you're posting things that really appeal to those handful of clients that are like always have your back or always rooting for you or always like say it louder. Those people are going to help boost the post that you do. And like that's really all you need to worry about. If you want to go and feel way better about yourself, go look at some of my posts and look at the haters in them comments. Okay. You can also make that your brand of being like, oh, we getting spicy? I'm spicier, you know? So, like, I think accepting that fear of rejection is a big part for all of us. And honestly, like, it held me back a long time too. I tell people all the time, go back and scroll real deep into my Instagram. You're gonna have to go for a while, but look back at those first posts. Okay, there was Delulu happening in there. Delulu. But like as you post and as you do it more, it stops being Delulu and just starts being like, okay, I'm just gonna like do this thing and we'll see how it goes. Da-da-da. Okay, so I want to kind of break down what fears we're usually battling as well, because this is something with my own self that I found to be really helpful is sometimes I just kind of get stuck in this like analysis paralysis, but like I don't know why I'm analyzing myself. I don't know why I'm stuck. It's just like, huh, it's uncomfy, so I don't go any further. But I have found that if I can break down the why of why I'm feeling that way, why something is triggering, why something is not quite right, whatever the why is for big emotions that we feel, that sometimes that helps it almost kind of become null and void in our heads. I do this thing where sometimes I'll just be like spiraling out of control and I'll text my friends and I'll be like, hey, can I be irrational for a minute? And they're like, okay. Because sometimes just saying your angry thoughts out loud, you're like, that actually doesn't even make sense. And suddenly I'm not even angry anymore. So I almost want to use that same concept on the fear side of things. I want you to even say it out loud to yourself in the mirror or a partner or a best friend or whatever. Every time you're about to post something scary, shit, it could be me. I don't give a shit. DM me. But if it's something that you're like, hey, can I be a scaredy cat for a second? And have that person just be like, mm-hmm. Dump all your fears out. Just be like, I'm going to post this and somebody's going to say X, Y, and Z. And then that's going to do this and this is going to do that. And then like just like all your anxious thoughts, just word vomit them out. And I almost guarantee you the second you say it out loud, you're going to be like, never mind. That sounds kooky. Because we do this thing when it's in our head that it feels so logical and it feels like that's exactly what's going to take place. But then we say it out loud and you're like, hey, so that's actually not even that bad. And I don't know why I was so sweaty about that. Or your friend is going to be there to be like, hey, so worst case scenario, some stranger doesn't like you. Okay. What? Okay. And then you can just be like, you're right. That's not a big deal. Okay. So basically these three fears that we kind of get pigeonholed in is one, the fear of judgment, like we were talking about. Like, what will somebody else think? What will my other clients think? What will, some stranger named Tony underscore 696 on the fucking internet comment about my video or about this or that? Those like that fear of judgment and being almost like knocked down. Sometimes it feels like you're taking 3 steps forward and then like 8 steps back, and you're like, shit. And like, guys, I literally feel this all the time. There are so many times that people show up in my DMs or in my comment section and they're just fucking mean. And you're just like, what is wrong with you? I think it's really important to understand that those people are projecting their shit on you. And those judgments that they're passing to you are things that they can't really sit right with themselves. So if you're posting being really confident about hair loss, if you're posting being really educational or whatever, you're always going to have people that try to shit on that in some way, shape, or form. And honestly, the bigger you get, the more shitted on that you become. You become a bigger target. And being able to kind of like get that skin to be like, you know what? If Tony696 is mad about the thing that I'm posting, then that's okay because I'm actually not talking to Tony. One of my videos I posted recently that inspired the call last week was talking about how actual clients with hair loss really don't want to see super pretty pictures on a feed all the time. I have so many people that are like, I don't know what you're talking about because, yeah, when I'm looking for a new stylist, I absolutely look for pretty pictures. My comeback to each and every one has been, hey, thanks, Carol. Do you have extreme hair loss or balding? And they always come back with, well, no, but, and I'm like, hey, so I actually wasn't talking about you. Have a great day. And that's okay that they disagree with me. That's okay that they are triggered by the thing I said. That's okay that they think I'm fucking stupid for saying what I said because I'm not talking to them. Shoo shoo. Move along. This lesson isn't meant for you. Okay. So just understanding that too, when assholes do say some stupid shit, even down to other stylists in the salon. I remember when I first started doing extensions, I signed up for my very first extension certification course. I had to fly all the way out to California to get certified in it. It was like a 4 day convention style thing. And it was a big investment. I mean, at that point, for me, that was the most I had invested in anything of myself. We actually had to take a loan from my in-laws to be able to afford it. My kids were babies. My husband and I were just really young. Like we didn't have that, and it was $5,000. And I remember we figured it out, and I was like, I want to do this. I know for a fact this can change our lives. And he was like, I support you. If you believe in it, I believe in it. I was super gung ho. I went back to my salon and told the girls, like, hey, I signed up for this extension education class. I'm really excited because I think we can bring in higher ticket guests. At that point, the salon I was working at was on the verge of closing. The business was failing. And I was like, this could help. Like, I could help this business. And the owner of that salon laughed in my face and said, why would you spend that much money on education? That's fucking stupid. Okay. And any chance she got, she took the opportunity to tell everyone how I just spent a life's savings on education that I'm probably never going to do anything with. I hadn't even gone to the class yet. I hadn't even gotten certified. I was still in the pre-training. And I was like, is this going to actually fuck me up? Did I just waste $5,000? Every chance she got, she was like, she'll never make it here. This is fucking Ohio. Who does she think she is? Nobody's going to pay that kind of money for her. Every chance she got. And I just had to be like, you know what? I'm tuning out the noise. I'm sticking with this because in my gut, I know this is going to do something for me. I know this has to pan out. And honestly, I'm one of those people too that I'm like, I'm not going to give myself a backup plan. I'm not going to give myself another choice. I will make this work because honestly, probably mental illness. But like one thing about me, I am not a very good giver upper. So that to me was almost more fuel to my fire to be like, fuck you, watch. And I think sometimes, as much as that might not be super healthy, and like my therapist might tell me that that's not the best way to achieve success, I do think there's a lot of power in that. If you can take those negative, judgmental kind of comments that you hear in the grapevine from people, or you witness firsthand, or actually show up in your feed or your DMs or whatever, and literally just take that as fuel to your fire instead of letting it extinguish your fire and just be like, let me show you actually how ridiculous I am. I can get more ridiculous. Actually, hold my beer. I think there's a lot of power in that and a lot of confidence that comes with that to just say, hey, I'm myself and everybody else can just fuck off because I know I'm going to help people and this is how. So that kind of leads into that other next piece of fear of looking unqualified. Because I think the other side of that is okay, but what if I post something and I don't have it 100% correct and then I look really stupid? This is like my personal one, which is probably why I am the way I am and research things to the extent that I do, because I'm like, listen, one thing that I'm not going to look is stupid, and I'm not going to talk out of my ass just because I felt really confident about something, but I didn't actually research it all the way. So, this is exactly why I wrote the book the way that I do. This is why I come and do these calls for everybody, because I want you to have the ability to ask questions. I want you to have the ability to find resources that can keep that stupid away because I firmly believe that if I don't know something, I'm gonna go find it. And I have people that I know I can be like, hey, question about this. Also, we live in a world where Chat GPT is a thing. You can literally just like research on that and then check sources on to Google, find some like articles. There we go. Words are hard. Find articles to read. Like if there's something that you're like, hey, I'm really interested in this. I want to talk about this, but I feel like I need to know a little bit more on it before I talk on it. Be inspired to actually look into things. Don't be afraid to research things on your own, to dive deeper into stuff that really does intrigue you. You might find a rabbit hole somewhere that you're like, wait a minute, I started this off over here and I found out all these other things. I have 16 more questions, but I am so inspired right now. Because chances are, if you're being drawn to kind of educate yourself on something, or if you're feeling like maybe you don't have enough like knowledge to talk on something, that's a great signifier of a place where you could dive deeper. If it's something you're listening to this and you're like, ooh, you know what? I can think of two or three things immediately. Put those in the support chat in our community and just be like, hey, I would love to know more about X, Y, and Z. If it's something that I feel like is call worthy, we'll do a call on it. Maybe I can just answer it in the chat. Or, I mean, I could even put it in the course if it's something that I'm like, shit, that's a great fucking idea. Hell yeah. Like, if there's anything like that that you guys ever have, like, that is why you have access to me. That is why we have the community. That's why we have all of this. And I will tell you for a fact, if it's something that I'm like, ooh, great question. I don't 100% know. I guarantee you, I know somebody that does know. That's the coolest thing about the like wild span of humans that I have come in contact with and have connections with now is that I pretty much have an inlet or an outlet in any kind of topic we could possibly imagine in the hair world. So if I don't know it myself, I have no ego in being like, I have 0% knowledge on that, but let me direct you to somebody who does and referring something back or forth. And you can even do that in your feed. Actually, just this week, I had a student reach out to me and was like, hey, we've DM'd before, really interested, love your book, la, 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 interested in learning more about scalp trichology and the like little treatment kind of things that I could do there. And she was like, do you know anything about that? And I was like, hey, I'm going to be real honest. I don't specialize in that. That is not my thing. I know little bits about that. I could tell you some sciencey facts, but as far as what you're looking for, I'm not your girl. However, you know who is? Carrie Howe. She has the Scalp Society. She has a whole course on this, and she's a bomb ass human. You should follow her. And she was like, hey, thank you so much. She DM'd me a day or two after, and she was like, dude, this course is rad. Thank you so much for referring. And I was like, anytime. Like, you can do that as a stylist too. If someone reaches out to you and like, hey, I heard you talk on this. Do you have any suggestions on A, B, or C? Or what about X, Y, and Z? You can literally just say, hi, I don't know, but give me one day or give me a couple hours and I'm gonna figure that out for you. That's a huge trust builder as well. So the third fear that I have heard so many stylists talk about, and again, also experience myself, almost the fear of being like too niche, the fear of excluding the people that helped build your brand. help build your business? What if I start posting things about hair loss and my clients that just come for hair loss or haircuts suddenly feel like they're not valued anymore? And honestly, like that's super logical, right? I think the biggest thing there is to make sure that you're keeping those interactions with the clients that you want to keep on a personal level actually really strong. So those clients that do just come to you for color, and maybe you're trying to draw in hair loss clients or whatever. If you really love those clients, make their appointment special for them. Build value within their appointments and stuff so that they know, yes, you might not be talking to them on the internet, but they're still valued in your chair. They still have a place with you. They are still welcome in your salon. They're still just like really valued members of your group. And within that, those clients won't feel excluded. They'll actually root for you, even though they don't get your services. We have clients in our salon all the time that I have two clients that still are just color clients. I could charge them all the money in the world. They do not need extensions. They do not want extensions, but they will come to me until their last dying breath for color. I love them to bits and pieces. I have gotten so many referrals from these two diehard color clients that I love to bits and pieces and refuse to kick out of my chair. They send me referrals all the time. They know I'm never talking to them on my post, on my feed, on my like Instagram. They know that. But they send me people all the fucking time. Even people that I went to high school with. I don't do them as clients. I don't do anything. I just had a referral last week. And she was like, hey, I actually, one of my girls cheers with one of the girls that you went to high school with, and she still follows you and knew you do these services. And she recommended me. I was like, fuck yeah. Because like those people that trust you as a human, that really just value your authenticity, are going to see the things you're posting and be like, good for you. Hell yeah. Like, I'll root for you back here. And even if they stop being clients for whatever reason, maybe you raise your prices. Maybe it's something that they're like, hey, I moved, or I'm going to go be with one of the other girls in the salon just because she has better hours or whatever. Who cares, right? When you're in that authentic posting space, when you're in that authentic public space, those people are going to still be so fucking proud of you. Scream your name from the rooftops, be like your number one fan clapping in the background. Like they don't have to be an active part of your journey to still root for you from a distance. And honestly, like that's what it's about. That's the community that I try to create. Like, I don't need everybody to be a student. I don't need everybody to give me money in some way, shape, or form. Like, this isn't about the money to me. It's about spreading awareness. It's about creating a safe place for stylists and clients alike. It's about just getting into that area where, yeah, I might not be able to help you like with hair, but hopefully I can help you with your spirit. Maybe I can help you just like accept your hair loss a little better. Like, that's all. If I do a little bit of good, I'd rather do that than no good at all. So that's the fears that I think are the most prevalent in a lot of the people I talk to, and that you can kind of boil down most things to once we get in that like spiraling to a pit of doom kind of place that we all typically tend to like yump into. So I have a little action item that I want to um, kind of exercise. Um, Kind of also, this is backing on our call from last time too, that I want you to kind of look at your last 9 posts in your feed and see if any of those posts are relatable to anyone with visibly fine, thin, or thinning hair, or are you talking to that person? And like honestly answer that question of like, is that something in those 9 posts? Is that something that you've even touched base on? Because if it hasn't, chances are those people don't know you're talking to them. And so if you're trying to get hair loss clients, but you can go to the front page, we'll say, of your feed, and the clients that you're trying to attract can't immediately find themselves in your marketing, that's why. That's probably why you're not getting any new clients is because they don't think you're talking to them. So that's a real quick, easy one. Okay, and then now I want to also kind of shift gears because usually when we're kind of coming from this place of fear, a lot of the times what's happening is we're posting overly safe content because we get into this thing where we're like, well, I don't want anybody to make fun of me, so I'm just gonna post this like kind of bland, kind of vanilla latte kind of post. Guess what? When you're doing that, nobody's seeing it. You blend in with everybody else. You're the millennial gray of an Instagram feed, and that's kind of harsh, but nobody's seeing you. You're in camouflage in the woods. Your post looks like everybody else's post, looks like everybody else's post. So there's nothing eye-catching. The hook isn't there. There's nothing there for people to be like, I'm sorry, what? And get locked into. So they're just going to scroll past it. And you could be talking to the perfect person. You could have such valuable content. But if it looks like everybody else's, if it's cut and paste with the way you're talking or the way you're wording things or whatever, if it's just another version of the same old, it's not going to stand out. It's not going to feel original. And the people that are attracted to that aren't probably going to be super diehard because there's nothing unique about you versus next person. So, especially in this day and age with AI and, being able to look basically anything up super fast. It's not like we have to go to the fucking library and dig through encyclopedias anymore to find good internet kind of knowledge, right? Like I can ask ChatGPT some wild ass question right now, and it'll be like this in 7 seconds. So if all you're doing is sharing really valuable information, sometimes that's not enough because we've had this conversation before too, but people don't bond with information. People value information, like that's cool, that's great, love that. I came looking for that and I found it, yippee. But people don't bond with that. People bond with people. People bond with real. People bond with authenticity. So if you can't share that information in a way that's actually you, that feels like they already know you, that feels like a way that they're like, oh, this girl really is the person that I'm looking for. That's when you're going to have situations where they just kind of come and go willy-nilly, whether that's followers, whether that's clients, whether that's whatever. If you can look back in a history of, people come in and then they leave and come in and they leave, that's like more of a convenience kind of thing than something where they're coming in and being like, I will never go anywhere else again. This is wonderful. So usually that secret sauce is whoever you are authentically. And then suddenly you'll find that people that are really like you start being attracted to that version of you because they too are like that. And they're like, me and you are going to be friends. I can tell you're my kind of person. And that's how you build those relationships kind of moving into it. So a lot of times I see these really great posts that students share that have amazing information, but honestly, they're just invisible. So work on trying to nail down what your brand is, your brand voice. What is your personal way that you talk to people? And if you need help with that, put that into Claude, ChatGPT, whatever. Use the voice feature and ask it to like just ask you questions about your brand and using the way you speak, using the way you have your tone, tempo, cadence, all of that. Use it to analyze the way you communicate to better boost your brand and to better analyze who you are as a brand identity. It's a really fun little thing. I actually did this with my Claude this morning because I was a regular Chat GPT user and a friend got me hooked on Claude. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Claude, you asked such wonderful questions. But I was asking it to help me kind of come up with a text to send back to a client. And she came up with a really good script. Like it was good. It just wasn't me. So I told her, I was like, okay, hey, and this is like with the voice feature, right? I said, I'm going to read this in like my version. I'm going to abridge it and just kind of tell you how I would read this script, but transfer it into my own words. From there, can you use how I speak and how I enunciate, how I give emphasis to certain things to help me better break down what my brand voice is? And then also, can you remember that moving forward for how I speak and how I communicate so that you can better mimic me in the future? And I'm actually going to pull it up because I thought it was super cool just off of that little conversation that we had, what she said about the way I communicate. I was like, I do that. That's super cool. Da, da, da. She said, few things I'm picking up from you from your final vision that I'll carry forward. Short, punchy paragraphs with line breaks between each thought instead of one big block. Capitalization for emphasis instead of bolding. You like to start sentences with but, which is a great conversational connector. Softening qualifiers, like in my experience, and if that's what you're ready for, that are never pushy and always leave the door open for your clients. Emojis at the end feel very warm instead of scattered, and you use we language that makes your interactions feel like a team decision, not a transaction. I was like, you're right. I do that. And she got that literally just from me putting things in my own words. So literally just like I think that like talk to it feature is so cool because that really lets that AI get a sense of your personality. And in the terms of like finding that brand voice, like that was the other thing that I did. I literally just like yapped about my business, yapped about what we did, and said, now can you analyze everything that I've told you about my business, my students, my education style, my everything? And what do you think my brand voice is? And it was like, what? And it just told me all these things. I was like, that is so cool. That is me. That is exactly me. So now I know I have a very like loving authority is what we call my brand voice. So anytime I'm communicating to a marketing team or a web designer or anything like that, I'm like, hey, this is kind of the position that I take. This is how I communicate. This is my editing style, whatever. And just knowing that for yourself, you can kind of check yourself when you're in those like post moments or whatever. And it's like, okay, how can I speak with whatever tone it is that you've kind of decided is your thing and also address A, B, and C points? Put that in ChatGPT. You can do that into, any kind of AI thing to help it guide you. And then from there, always put in what your final draft is back in and say, hey, this is what I went for my final draft so that you can better tweak and adjust responses moving forward. The AI will learn. It's really cool. Da, 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 da. Okay. As far as kind of picking out some content to actually get the ball rolling on things, I want you to think of the last few clients that you've worked with, whether they be hair loss or just like problems that you solved in the salon in general. And think about her words and how she described her problems and what you were able to do to fix that. That could be styling, that could be cut, that could be hair loss things, that could be whatever, right? But what are the words that she used to describe her situation that you heard and said, oh, I got that. That's easy, right? Because to her, it's not easy. To her, before she sat down in your chair, they were huge problems. Chances are she sat down, you fixed it, and she was like, holy shit, my bangs have never been able to lay like that. Like, what do you mean it was this easy this whole time? All I had to do was hold the brush like this instead of like that. It's those little things like that that you're discounting your expertise on. I guarantee it. I am so bad at this all the time. I have a friend that will kind of talk back and forth to each other, and I'll just share something, and she's like, that was fucking cool. You should talk about that more. And I'm like, why? She's like, because it was fucking cool. And I was like, no, that's like some basic not, does everybody not know that? And she's like, Mm-mm. So again, I think having like a friend that you can kind of like, bounce ideas off of is really helpful because the thing is like we get so used to the things we know that we think everybody knows that. We discount ourselves as authorities because we know it, so surely everybody else knows it too. But that's really not the case. Like all the way down to like my example of like drying your bangs. Like how many clients have we had that sits in their chair and they're like, I can never make my bangs look like you make my freaking bangs look. And you're like, okay, well, show me what you're doing. Show me how you're curling them. It's always something little, right? It's always something like they're going this way instead of that way. And you're like, well, yeah, or they're curling all their curls to the left or right. And that's why their curls don't look right, right? It's always like a little fix that you're like, well, yeah, you're doing that. And they're like, mind blown. Like it changes everything for them. And you're like, girl, I can tell that when I look at you. Like, what? It's because you know things that you're not giving yourself credit for. So those are those little things that actually are so much more impactful. We think they're stupid, but the internet loves that shit. Those little tiny tips and tricks that you're just like, I've been doing this for years. Like, that's not even cool. That people are like, what? I posted one recently where when I was beading, I double bead my drop beads. I put both beads on at the same time and clamp the bottom one and just leave the top one so that when I scoot it up, I can clamp both. I have been doing that for a very long time. And that was one of the things that I was just like, "Uh, I'm just going to throw this on the internet." I literally messaged my friend and I was like, is this stupid to post? This is some stupid fucking shit that I'm about to post, right? And she was like, no, that's really cool. I've never done that. And I was like, the fuck you haven't? She was like, no, I really haven't. It's got so many likes and so many comments. It's got like 600,000 views or something wild. And I was like, I thought that was going to be stupid as fuck. Like, I really did think that was going to flop. I thought that was going to be one of the videos that you spend a long time editing and like doing a voiceover for, and it just goes in the shitter. And you're just like, well, that was a waste of 30 minutes. Uh, no. And it's the stupidest little thing. I have shared so much more valuable information on my page, like things that I'm just like, damn, this is cool as fuck. And I post it and everybody's like, that's cool. Meanwhile, two beads at one time. And they're like, oh my God. Because it's easy. It's something that they could immediately do and try. Right. So like I think sometimes we think that the big things are what people want to know, but big things are kind of hard to implement. Little things are really easy to implement. So even if it comes down to sharing tips on styling fine hair, and you're like, hey, if you have super fine hair, here's how I want you to blow dry some volume into your root. It's going to help crazy. Sharing, hey, can see your scalp? Here's how I use a root powder to hide it when I don't feel like styling it more or anything. Da da da. A tinted dry shampoo for the win. Those little things, and somebody's like, holy shit, send me an Amazon link. Those are the things that like really spark people. So also thinking about back to like what did your client say? Whatever, problems she was having. You can use that in your marketing as well. Like, hey, a client told me this week that she hasn't been to the salon in 3 years because she just felt like she was a hassle. I want you to know you're not a hassle. Here's how we love working with guests of X, Y, and Z, right? Like those little things that like your clients actually talk about and express their troubles with. Those are perfect things to post about. If it's something that you're like, ooh, that was really good, like, I don't think it's weird to just be like, hey, I'm actually going to write that down because I think that's something that a lot of people would value. And I'd love to make a post about that. So I'll step away from my client for a second or ask my assistant to write that down or literally just like, hey Siri about it. Or I'm like, hey, write this down in my reminders. I have a whole reminders list of it's literally called shit I should talk about. And anytime somebody like brings up a really cool question or comments something really cool or whatever, that I'm just like, hey, so that's a great idea. I just throw it in that dumped notes list that I'm just like, perfect, moving on. So that way in the future, when I'm like, huh, I'm just kind of like brain dead. I don't know what I should talk about. I just pull that shit up and I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Let's do that. It works like a charm. And it really helps you just kind of like lock in when you just really aren't inspired. Because let's face it, we all have those sometimes. Okay, so here are 8 post ideas that you can literally just do at any point in time. You could probably sit here and think them up. and make a reel about it, make a carousel about it. You could write a blog if you're a blog writing person. You could do all kinds of different things with these topics, depending on how deep you want to get into it. But you absolutely could do any of these. So the first one is going to be a client quote post. Something that your client has specifically said that either really impacted you, was super heartfelt, or was just like a holy shit kind of moment. I'm sure we all have those. I'm sure you can think of one off the top of your head that you're like, that happened last week, that you're like, ugh, about. Or something that, they've had it super fucked up somewhere and you helped. Or just one of those like gut wrenching, like, yeah, that's reality kind of topics. Any of those are totally fine to talk about. If your client is willing to be like videoed, I think it's really cool to be able to have that firsthand kind of experience. Just like sitting your phone up on your station on like a little tripod or something, and just being like, hey, can I just record during our session today? If there's somebody who's cool with that, like we have a handful of clients that they don't give a shit. Like they post every single piece of every single one of their appointments anyway. They just love screaming our name from the rooftops. Those are usually the ones that you could even reach out to and be like, hey, could I offer you a gift card to the salon in turn for a video testimonial? Can you tell your story and then share why you love us in just whatever wording you see fit. And then send it to me and I'll give you, a gift card to the salon. I'll do X for free or whatever. I love giving people gift cards. I just feel like it's like actually something. You give them something for free or just like credit on their account and they're just like, okay, thanks. Like they are appreciative. But like when you give them something and then they can use it, I don't know, it's just like tactile. And I think they're like, oh, yay. So yeah, I will give them a gift card to the salon. And they're just like, oh my God, thank you so much. So I think that that's a really cool piece. And I love those. I actually just have a like group of testimonials that I'm about to repost because of that too. The next one is the I didn't know that post. This goes back to the whole thing of like, what are some questions that you find yourself regularly answering for your clients that you see as just like a duh, and they're just over here like those. Okay. The third one is a texture before and after. Somebody with super fuzzy, frizzy hair, or somebody with like super stick straight hair, and how you were able to give it some texture. Usually it's the fuzzy, fluffy that you're able to smooth down. And that's just not curled just by itself. I think that's a really great little piece. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy, it could be up close shots. But people really are connected to that, like, okay, like it's just something different, right? Again, if we just have the same things all the time that everybody else is posting, that's where it's going to start to like be camouflage in the woods. But if we can have just a little bit of something different, it doesn't have to be, a whole just classic before and after. It could be like in the temple. It could be like a little detail shot of, kind of like under here where it's just kind of like zoomed in and really all you're seeing is this and it just kind of pans down. It doesn't have to have their face in it, but if you have a client with like some really great texture that you can smooth that shit out and it just looks so fucking good by the end, just be like, hey, can I take some detail shots? I promise I won't get your face in it. And of course, if they're totally cool with having their face in it, hell yeah, have it look a fucking Broomhilda ass mess in the before picture, and then get it all like, blown out and styled smooth, and take their after. And people are going to be like, damn, okay. Especially people with texture, they're going to be like, oh my God, thank you. Like, especially frizzy hair in the summer, like we're all battling right now. Or like the opposite way, if you work with curly extensions or curly toppers or anything like that, if you can showcase like, hey, you're not excluded because you have texture. And if you want to work with it and boost it, we can do that too. Like that can go either or. Ooh. So this one I really liked and was inspired by my last thing too. But the ask a question post. So for instance, what's one thing you wish your stylist understood about your hair? This was like an unintentional thing that I ended up opening up in the comments of that one video that we talked about. It was like all kinds of people coming into the comments and just being like, "Hey, so this is something that I've never felt like included in, or this is something that I wish my stylist would be more willing to do, or yada yada yada." Like I had so many people that were just like, "Oh my God, I wish my stylist knew X about me as a hair loss client, or me as a curly girl, or me as a this and that." So whatever it is that you really love and want to specialize in or want to work more in, ask your audience what, and this could even be like in your chair, just like interviewing some of your clients and then get like a good kind of read on that to make posts about it. It doesn't have to be something that you're actually like posting the conversation. You can if you want, but like just kind of get a read on that and then answer those questions in your marketing. But yeah, if you have something that is like that you could have a comment section blow up about, that's it. Like, what's one thing you wish your stylist understood about your hair? I feel like this would do really well on TikTok too. Like, just the energy of TikTok. Uh, a TikTok comment section is just different than an Insta comment section. Let's just face facts. But those kind of things I think are really cool. And people love collaborating. If you can hook that in a way that's like a collaborative kind of thing, people love to help other people, or people's ego loves to feel like they're helping other people, right? So either way, that's going to drive those comments, even if it is something that you're just like, girl, you got big feelings, and that's something you should talk about with a professional. Either way, that's going to drive the comment section, right? So I think that's a really cool one. A myth busting post. This would be a great thing that you could absolutely utilize the book for and utilize all kinds of like actual hair loss details for. But it could be as simple as like, just having skinny hair doesn't mean you have to have a short haircut. Like, here's how you can have longer hair and use these products to help poof your hair up. And now all of a sudden, yeah, you have fine, skinny hair, but look what we did to make it look like it's a little fuller. Those little tips and tricks are always super cool. Um, they also do sometimes get people fired up wanting to argue with you in the comments, which also boosts your engagement. So cool. Think of that every time you start to see those like wild ass comments come into. That's a comment that I regularly place to like those comments is like, hey, thank you so much for boosting my engagement with your hateful tone. I really appreciate it. It shuts people up really fast. But those Mythbusters ones are pretty cool. Number 6. This is normal kind of post. Just talking to a group of people and understanding that, like, hey, if you're going through this, it's not wild. It's okay. One that I did was I had a client that was going through her like postpartum shed, and her hair was coming out significantly. Like it was shedding. And so I videoed it. I videoed us like brushing her hair out at the sink with all her hair in my hands and was just like, hey, this is normal for a postpartum shed. Don't panic. That alone was something that so many people had DM'd me, and this was a while ago, so I should probably do it again. But so many people were like, oh my God, thank you so much. That just like settled my soul. I was like, yeah, no problem. And in that caption, I talked about how postpartum shed actually works, what's happening in the body during that time, how the hormones fluctuate and actually send that hair into that shedding phase, why it happens 6 months after and not immediately before, explaining the hair growth cycle and everything like that. I had so many new moms that commented or reached out and they were like, oh my gosh, thank you. I was shitting my pants and didn't know how to like bring up, is that normal or not? Because so many women just, we don't talk about hair loss, right? So yeah, you hear hair loss is like, oh, just be prepared for your postpartum shed. But you're like, I don't know, I've shed hair before and it's not this bad. Oh my God, I'm going bald, you know? So just being able to actually like see something that you're like, oh, this is really cool. The 7th is a product demo. So even if it's down to, like I said, the scalp tint, the maybe there's like a volume spray that you absolutely love. If you're using it on yourself, great. Do a little tutorial. If you're using it on a client, wonderful. Do a little tutorial. You can always turn your client around in the chair too if they don't want their face shown, and just show styling that from the back and cut out the moments where you turn them or whatever. Like you can edit a video down. But in general, while you're kind of making these and whatever, the way the algorithm is working right now, you need to have somebody hang on into your video 3 seconds deep. So those first 3 seconds of a reel matter so much. If you don't have something very interesting, very like eye-catching, your hook isn't something that's like, if all that isn't happening almost immediately, then people are going to scroll and the algorithm isn't going to push your video as much. So we want them to hang on for 3 seconds. So that's the goal. It can be longer than that. Absolutely. We just need them really engaged for those first 3 seconds so that it can boost. And the last one is a personal post. Share your experience with either having experienced hair loss by yourself, having experienced a loved one with hair loss. Maybe you've never gone through hair loss on your own. That's okay. You can use how you treat people with hair loss, how it impacts you to be the person that you are. You can talk about any of those personal experiences from a heartfelt kind of standpoint to your audience and have them be really engaged. That's going to just show them that they are indeed in the right place, especially for those clients that just need a little extra coaching. We talked about those 3 types of hair loss clients that are usually in the market. And this is more so for that one that just needs a little extra encouragement to get into your chair. She just needs to know who you are as a person. And if she can connect with you on that level, she's probably already seen a lot of your work or heard about you or whatever, been following for a while. And she just needs that one little thing. So maybe that's it. But those are my 8 little like action items for the time being. Um, if you have any questions about anything, I'd absolutely love to answer.
Okay, so one of the things I always second guess myself on,
Yeah.
this is like probably the stupidest thing, but it's something that totally holds me back.
Yeah.
When I'm working on a client, which I get a lot of good footage, I think,
Yeah.
well, it's time to make a post.
Okay.
And I'm like, I totally get in my own way. And this is like, you've probably heard me say this 100 times already.
It's okay.
Where do I set my camera up? Like, I have a little tripod that, like,
Okay.
the ones that, the one that you see all over Instagram.
Right.
Uh, I'll put it on my station and it's typically like directly in front, but then like I did a topper for someone and it looked so good. I was so proud. And she kept like fucking moving, like she's trying to, and I was like, oh my God. Um, I I've thought like maybe I need to come in from the side,
Mhm.
maybe from behind me at the mirror. I'm like, I'm always unsure. And then I'm like, it looks stupid. It looks stupid. What am I doing? I'm not meant to do this. I'm just meant to work.
I'm not meant for this. I love that. We have a running joke in the salon. Haley said something, we were doing manual labor about something, and she was like, I'm not meant for labor. This is one of those, it's like those like vocal stems where you're like, I'm not meant for this.
Oh, I'm
I love
not.
it. So I would highly recommend just move it around and see where it works best for you. I kind of like shooting from like back here down. We have one of these tripods that like you can almost like angle your phone down. So I get it up and kind of like this way.
So it's
Um,
like over your shoulder
yeah.
coming
Yep.
closer at your work rather than the overall general. So I
Right.
don't ever do anything like that. Well, one time when I was taking off my fishnet topper
Yeah.
on my client, just so that like I was like, that might be a cool post to like show how shitty the hair looks
Yeah.
after you're taking it off. Like
This is
this
normal.
is kind of what's going on, but don't worry, it'll get better.
Yeah.
It's going to brush out. It'll all wash. Everything will look fine.
Yeah.
I never posted that either. Well,
That would be a wonderful one. Like literally, and just making sure they're like short little clips. If it's too long, people are just going to be like, okay, I get the idea. But
right,
think
right.
about it in like watch it back again and not like consumer mindset of like if you were just to stumble upon this, the second you find yourself getting bored, cut it there. Watch it for a little bit, and if you catch yourself looking away, that's how I do it. Like I'm an ADHD person, so I'll watch something usually for about one full second is all you can get my attention before I'm like, we, unless there's something to
Yeah.
read or something's really interesting that I'm like, I've never seen that before. But when I edit videos, I'll literally just kind of like put my mental space into like if I was seeing this for the first time, would it engage me? And that's when I'm usually like, okay, that's where I'm going to cut it. And I'll adjust that time. Like I get the timing first, and then I do the like slip or slide or whatever it's called feature in edits to
Okay.
find the little section that I like. And then
Okay.
I'll play it again. And then, like, okay, I caught myself like kind of getting distracted again. Cool, cut it there. That's where my next piece is going to go. And I try to get like a full thing in around 8 seconds. Like that's
So
usually what I game
am
for.
I doing a voiceover or am
You
I
could,
writing little bubble words or
you could do either way. Honestly, you could play with it. You could make a few that have basically the same like content and have one be a voiceover, one have words over it, and post all of them. See what does better. I love
okay.
testing content like that. I'll like a lot of the times I'll make two or three in edits and then post one as a trial and one on my feed and just kind of see how they go.
Okay.
If one in edits is doing, or one in the trials is doing better, like I have doubles of almost everything that go through that it's just like, okay, cool. Um, I'll start them in different places and put a different hook on it and put both of them in trial and just see, okay, this one did better than that one. The one that did better, I'm actually going to push into my feed. So you can test content like that over and over and over, and then just kind of see what that audience likes to hear better or likes to see better. Totally.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's kind of one of those like you already have it edited. So like if I'm back and forth between one thing or another, I'm just gonna make both. Hell, post both. Hide one on your feed and have both of them in your like Instagram, like the Reels page or whatever. Okay. And Instagram has, you can reorganize your feed now. So post both, drag one down here and drag one up there.
I
They'll
have no
both come
idea
out
what
at the
you're
same
talking
time.
about. Like the last month I've been like healing and recovering, so I need to get back into doing everything, and that's where I'm at. Like, I'm so glad you
Yeah.
talked about all this because I've been looking at all my stuff. Like, okay, I'm back to work a few days. I have some stuff I could post.
Yeah.
Where do I start? What do I do?
Hmm.
So that helps. So
Start
now I
anywhere.
need,
Starting
yeah,
anywhere is so much better than not starting at all.
I know.
And it's just one of those like just throw that shit out there. And like on your Instagram or whatever, you can literally like hold down on the post and it'll come up with this little like
Oh,
so and then you can reorder grid.
okay.
So
I
once you
didn't
go
even
there
know what
and then
that meant. So
yeah,
that's good.
you can literally drag them everywhere. So if it's one of those where you're like, okay, I made these two, I'm gonna post both of them. I'm gonna drag one down a little bit so it doesn't look like I post the same thing back and forth, or put a cover photo on one and don't have it on the other one.
Okay.
Like just whatever. See which one does better, and then you can always archive the one that doesn't do shit if there is one. Maybe they
Right.
both do great. Cool. Again,
Yeah.
that goes back to the only person that sees 100% of your content is you. So as
Right.
long as like when you pull up that like first nine kind of thing, like nobody's gonna really know. So yeah, I would say just post the shit out of things. I am also a person that has a bad habit of going days without posting and then posting like four things in one day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's bad either, especially
Okay.
if it's one of those where you're trying to get back into the algorithm. It's been a while since you've posted. The algorithm doesn't know you. So actually, it's better if you dump a fuckload of content
Okay.
into those days, max out your stories, do a shitload of posts, like anything like that, and it'll immediately boost. You'll get into it quicker
Okay.
because it is a quantity kind of thing first in that initial kind of thing, and then you have that quality aspect comes once people actually watch it. So, and you can use all that as a test. And then it's just kind of fun because you're like, I don't care. I'm just throwing it up here. We'll see how it does. If I don't like it, I can take it down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It takes the stress out of it for me. That if I'm just like, worst case scenario, it gets 3 likes and I just remove it. Who cares?
I need to also get more footage of us at the salon. I think I'm in a place right now where I'm feeling really frustrated with everybody that I work with
Yeah.
because they're lacking the drive that I have. And I mean, I'm the salon owner. They rent from me. It's not my job really
Yeah.
to make them want to be better.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also like trying to find another renter to replace them or anything like that's impossible.
Right.
Right now, I've been struggling with that one,
Yeah.
with all that I'm doing. And I'm thinking like maybe I need to like offer up a class where I teach something that I know that they're not doing because like I would love to have some extensions put in. I don't fucking trust anyone that I work with.
You're like, "Eesh." Yeah.
Only one person does them and I'm like she would not be the person I would need some sort of like mesh put in
Yeah.
just because I'm too fine to hold anything, but
Yeah.
I don't trust anybody. And I'm like, it would be helpful for her business. It would be helpful for my business if somebody wanted to learn a better way.
Does
But
she have the integrity to do it well? Or is she one of those just like slap it in and call it a day kind of gals?
mhm.
So, and then that's part of that sucks too, because when you're around a whole bunch of people that don't really function out of a place of integrity, and you're someone who is so integrity driven, it starts to almost feel out of alignment there too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think, especially as the salon owner and as that like leader kind of thing, be that example. And if they don't start to fall in line, I mean, maybe some of those girls will see you doing these things and see you kind of like, taking the initiative, going to other salons to get an extension experience because you're like, well, none of y'all are doing it. So here's what I value. Here's what, we do in this chair. In this house, we function this way. If y'all don't want to do it that way, that's your prerogative, that's your legal right. But here's what we're going to do. Because it could be that there's a lot of those girls that have that in the back of their head that they'd like to do that and kind of function on that naturally, but are playing down because that's what the majority is. Because then we go back to those fears, like a lot of times, especially if they're younger or in a, I don't want to say clicky, but like, when everybody's just kind of compact mentally, they're all kind of on the same playing field. When they're all hanging out basically all day together and it could be a little catty or whatever, it's just one of those like, well, if I start that, then so and so will say something and then that'll start a whole nother thing and I don't want to fuck with it.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna be here and I'm gonna half-ass my way through my job because when I half-ass my way through my job, that's what everybody else is doing. So now it's the status quo is that, so that's what I'm gonna do. But if there was one other person that was just like, hey, I don't give a shit about you motherfuckers. I'm gonna do this my way and we're gonna do it balls deep, she might be more apt to be like, well, I mean, if you're doing it, I mean, I could sit over here instead, like,
Mhm.
so I think that's a good place to start. And maybe nobody does. Maybe it's one of those where they're all just like, no, I'm good half-assing it. Thanks so much. But then at least you can be in integrity with you.
Mhm.
And even if you can get those shots or whatever from like kind of a more like an angle that really just focuses on your space. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to include everybody else.
Right.
You want a suite rental or a booth rental salon, so you don't have to market for everybody else. It doesn't
Right.
have to be something that they're expecting you to do. So, but yeah, that way. it's not necessarily boosting their business or anything like that if they're not
I mean,
going
it would
to.
be beneficial to me though. Like if I could get them doing more extensions, then they would be buying hair from me and
Right,
so
for
on.
sure.
But I'm like, I
But if
don't
they're
even
not
want
going to do it,
you. I don't like you don't deserve my hair.
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
it's a weird a place where like farther I'm going into all this hair loss journey, I guess, with clients, I'm realizing how much my coworkers are disappointing me.
yeah. And honestly, I think that's just like seasons of life and
Yeah,
seasons of business too, that happens a lot where all of a sudden you can just be like,
I've
hmm,
outgrown these people.
yes. And that's not a bad thing. It's unfortunate when they're the ones kind of paying your bills. Um,
Exactly. That's where I'm like, that's where
because
you
let's call a
can't
spade a
bite the
spade.
hand that
Like,
feeds me right now. Yeah.
right. Like it's one thing with that, but the more that you function in a place of that integrity, and talk about what you do with your clients and talk about that you have a booth rental salon. It's full right now,
Yeah.
but this is how we do things. I would venture to bet after a couple consistent months of that, you'll have a couple stylists reaching out and saying, like, hey, I was wondering if you had a space open or wondering this or that. And the more you stand naturally and you're like, I'm not backing down from this, you might have a couple of those girls that leave
Yeah.
and that are just like, you know what? I don't know. She's just real deep into all this shit, and I'm not about it no more. And that's
Yeah.
okay too.
Yeah.
And though, if that does happen, it'll absolutely open the door for people that are more naturally aligned to come in. And the more you post, the more people you'll attract that are naturally aligned to you. So, I mean, that's Ariana
Gonna
and
help
Haley
me.
too.
Yeah.
Yes,
No matter
yeah,
what.
Ariana and Haley to a T. Those girls would start fires in the street for me. And we are very persnickety about the stylists and the people that like
Yeah.
are in our space because it's just like, hey, it matters.
It
And
does.
we've built this now and we don't want to fuck it up. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't start that way. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it is kind of that like backhanded deal where you're like, huh?
Hmm.
But I think the more you are just you because you're fucking fantastic, and the more that you prove to people that don't know you how fantastic you are. Because I mean, I've met you in person, I've talked to you in person, I've talked to you a shit ton on these calls and things like that. But if all I had was your Instagram, I'd just be like, oh, she seems so sweet. And I would know this much about how amazing you are instead of this much about how amazing you are.
Right.
So
Right.
just like truly be that person, be in your stories talking about like the fun things that happen. My stories is where I let my personality through a lot more. That's where I share like funny things, and that's like my get to know you section, if anything, where my feed is a little more the front of the mullet. It's a little more of the business, and the stories are kind of the back of the mullet.
That's such a great strategy. I've never even thought about it like that because I don't really ever do any stories. I just
Yeah,
post.
yeah.
And the stories, I'm like, why would I want that to disappear? But that makes sense. I fall flat as soon as the camera's on me where I'm like, maybe I'm on the spectrum. Like maybe, maybe, like I know I have ADHD, but maybe there's more to that. And I
Like a
totally,
rainbow.
yeah, I mean, I fall so flat. The moment that camera lights on, I'm like, and this is what I do to my hair, you know?
So
Um,
I too started that way. Everybody starts that way. Again, this is one of those
Back,
scroll
yeah,
back to the start of my page, watch some of those videos, and you'll be like, oh yeah, she's normal. There it is. I
yeah.
didn't start off being able to talk to cameras like this. I didn't, I my beginning stories, I might go dig some out of my archives and post them so everybody can see how cringy they were. It's one of those you're like, so and then I did that and so la 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 la. But if you just challenge yourself to do it, you get to this point where it's not scary anymore. Now I can be in a whole camera studio with fucking so many cameras pointing at me, lights here, da da da, and I just go. Like I can just pop right into it, filming my course, I mean, I film other people's courses because they're like, I need an educator that can crank this out in 2 days. And I'm like, got you. And I'll come in, I've done it. So doesn't start that way though. And I think a lot of the times we see people that have been doing it for a long time and think we have to be there. And I mean, I did that in the beginning. I saw other educators and other stylists and everything posting lives and stories and everything. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to talk like that. Like, I don't know how to have a conversation like that to no one. Because that's really what it is. You're talking to yourself. Meanwhile, I talk to myself all the motherfucking time. I have
You're
a
good at it.
whole, yeah, all the fucking time, right? But I had this story in my head that I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Meanwhile, I can be in my kitchen trying to make dinner and I'm like, where is the butter? Do we have butter? I don't remember buying. Yes, we remember buying butter. We bought butter. We put it on the shelf. And it's like you have this whole fucking conversation with yourself. And you're like, if I can do that, why can't I talk to an invisible
Yeah,
stranger?
like what triggers all the negative talk?
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
yes, you can. So
yeah.
I started FaceTiming people a lot more. That was one thing that helped me.
Mm.
That like just FaceTime,
Sensitize. That's a really good idea.
desensitize yourself to seeing your face in a rectangle. So I started
Yeah.
doing that. And then when I was doing my stories, I was acting like I was FaceTiming someone, but it was like a voicemail instead. And this is before FaceTime actually had voicemails. But if I had a story to tell a friend or my husband or whatever, I would turn my camera on and video me telling them the story and then send it. That way, when I got onto my stories and actually
Good
started
idea.
talking about things, I would again desensitized to being like, huh, because then
Yeah.
I knew those like trials that I was sending was to my best friend, was to my husband, was to a kid. Like, and they're gonna value it. They're gonna know how I speak. I can talk my normal self, my normal cadence, my normal yappiness, and just be like, get this shit. Guess what just happened at the fucking gas station? I was over here. This person comes in. She said, da, 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 and I can just do all that. So then when I go to tell that story on the internet to basically it can go the exact same way. And
Okay.
then it's just one of those that, and people are going to see that. I mean, chances are you've seen my crazy shit that we post on wherever, and you're like,
Which inspires me. That's where I'm like, I
yeah,
want to be that way. Like I had something happen the other day. I was doing this beautiful head of hair, like that hair, you know.
yeah.
It was like, God, this is the hair. I honestly, I would shave your head and just keep it for myself.
I want to
But
wear you like a skin.
right. So I said it out loud.
Yeah,
And her face, and her mom sitting there, her mom's my client too.
yeah.
And she goes, oh, like, oh my God, you know, skinning people's not really. And I was like, no, no, no. I don't
In
want
like
to
a
hurt
loving
you.
way.
It's a compliment. I don't want to wear her. I just want to wear her hair.
Like from here up. That's
But
not
I'm like, that would be such a funny post. I was
yes.
recording when I did it, you know, and I'm like, I could totally, can I make something out of that? Is that
Yeah.
stupid? People think I'm
I
gonna,
would cut that exact like that moment that they're like, huh, make that your first little like piece because you said you had that whole thing like
yeah, like
recorded.
where she went
Yeah,
like
make
this.
that the hook. Make that the very first little like section of the video that you see is just that immediate shock factor. Have the next piece be them like dying laughing and then go in reverse where it starts to the beginning of you being like, man, this hair is so great. I could totally just and like cut out the little like the pauses or whatever. Make sure it goes quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
That
blow
would hit
drying her
so
hair. You can
much.
see my fingers going through her hair. Um, okay. I that helps me. I
Yeah,
totally,
I
yeah,
would shit my pants laughing if I just like came across because that's something I would say. And like that
yeah,
reaction is a normal reaction for normal people where I'm like,
yeah.
hey, that was an inside thought and it came on the outside. And you
It
can even
happens
make
all the
that your
time.
hook.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah.
you're just kind of a goober and sometimes the outside thoughts or the inside thoughts come to the outside. And like I guarantee you there will be a whole bunch of stylists that are like, bitch, same. Like and your call to action in that could even be something along the lines of like, hey, what's the wildest thing you've accidentally said out loud to a client? Like any of those kind of things. But I
Okay.
think that
I
would
love
be
it. That sounds
awesome. If you post that and I will repost it because I think it's hysterical.
awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. But
And
yeah,
thank you for
just
talking to me longer. I know you need to go, I'm sure, but
you're
I,
good.
yeah,
We started a
okay.
little late anyway. So yeah, I hope there was a lot of value into that. I can't wait to see that video. And just like always, if you have any kind of questions or want me to go deeper into something, y'all know, post it in the support chat, send me a message on Instagram, whatever, and we will absolutely do that. So thank you for being here.
I appreciate
And
it.
thank you guys for listening or watching, whoever is listening and watching later. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.